We're doing okay. Short and long-term facilities planning for budget and growth projections. So how many years should you include in your short-term plan? Many people don't have a long-term plan, but for the short-term plan, how many years should you have? And the answer is 5 to 7 years. Some people say at their short-term plans, they only want to look out a couple of years. And the problem with that is everything goes back to your finance department. When you go back to your finance department and you say, well, look, I need this for next year, they can't plan that. You're not going to get it then. You need to give them a 5-year look out at things, and 7 years is better. And say to them, these are the things I'm going to need to sustain my facility. And those plans have to include your capital renewal replacement program items, and certainly any of your maintenance costs that have gone up because either your maintenance people, maybe they've got a new contract, maybe your taxes are going up if that's part of your stuff. Utilities are one that seem to go up all the time, so try to look at that and make sure you have 5 to 7 years. All right, so how many years should you be included in your long-term plan? If you have 5 or 7 years in your short-term plan, what should you do for a long-term plan? Oh, Gary, well, why don't we go out 10 years? Or why don't we go out, 15 years? The answer is 50 years. And I know you're going to say, well, geez, Gary, that seems like a long time. I can't plan out 50 years ahead. Honestly, if you can plan 5 to 7 years and you have all your stuff included, 50 years is just a multiplication. And why do you want to go 50 years? Well, you don't want to go 50 years, but why would you go 50 years? You want to start to capture some of the items that are in your capital renewal replacement program that have intervals of 20, 25 years. You like to capture them at least twice if you can, but you certainly want to capture them one time as you do this larger look at things. And then once you take that larger look at things and you take the average of that, you divide that number by 50 when you come back, now you have a report that you can show your finance department, look, I'm not kidding with this stuff. This is what it's going to cost to maintain my facility for the next 50 years. And I'm going to bring it back into real-time dollars, and I'm going to show you what the average is. So don't think that this thing that I'm telling you for the 5 to 7 years is just an anomaly, and that later on I'm not going to need any money. I'm going to need this money going forward forever. And so is the next guy that comes after me. So what should be included, or what should you consider to develop both of these plans? And I kind of gave you the answer to that already. It's everything. You need to have a complete list of every piece of equipment in your facility. Now, don't go crazy and start putting down the little pieces of equipment that, are sitting on the shelf or something. But, the major pieces of equipment that you have, and you should have end of life from each of them, from the manufacturer, at least, or somebody that's in the know, or your engineers. They'll come back and say to you, this is how long we want to run this for before, we know it's going to fail, and this is when we're going to need the money for it. Replacement values for each, end-of-life dates. The other thing, too, that you need to go back and do for your planning is talk to your HR department or talk to your senior staff and say, what do you see over the next 5 to 7 years for growth? What am I going to be doing? How many more people am I going to get? How many are we going to have to plan for? And what they always forget about that is, okay, so you're planning for the people, how's your parking lot doing? What about your conference facilities? If you have conference facilities, are they full? Are they full all the time? Do a report on that as well so you can start to get in front of that and say, hey, guess what? I'm out of space with my conference rooms. And once you get some of these projections from, also get your historical projections. Look at what I've done in the past. One company, when I came in, they said, well, we have flat growth, so you don't have to worry about planning for any future stuff. I said, you have flat growth. I said, your flat growth has been 30 people a year for the last 6 years. No, that's not true. And this was my second day or third day in a conference with all the vice presidents, and everybody looked at me like I said something really wrong because you weren't supposed to talk back to the vice presidents, but that was the answer. And after we got past that little thing, they all realized that they were in trouble and they did need to do something. And when they came back and they said, Gary, you were right. What do you want to do? That's why I said I want to shrink cubes. Oh no, the people are going to kill you if you shrink cubes, not if you give them new chairs.